Yo, what's good, YouTube, man? It's Gary with John Fan TV back at you with this video. And the content is really going to smash that like button, the content of this channel. Go ahead, subscribe, man. Look, so the Ravens beat the Pittsburgh Steelers in a game that was going back and forth until the Ravens really snatched it in the second half. All right, so 34-17, the Ravens get this victory, right? So we'll talk about some milestones, stand-up performers, and we'll talk about the offensive defense, right, in this game, right? So milestones, right? Let's hit that real quick. Zay Flowers, 1,000-yard receiver, big time. Kyle Van Noy, 10.5 sacks on the season, big time. Lamar Jackson breaks the franchise record, which was also already his record, which also makes this his career high, his 37th passing touchdown of this year. Okay, Lamar Humphrey, he gets his in the biggest play of the game. Lamar Humphrey gets his first career pick six, I believe, right? So somebody can correct me on that, but I believe the other touchdowns he scores might have been like fumble recovery, something like that. But as far as getting the pick six, this is the first time Lamar Humphrey took to the house. All right, so big plays right there. All right, let's talk about stand-up performance, right? A couple of those guys are going to be mentioned again. Kyle Van Noy. Kyle Van Noy has shown that no matter what, um, just because of his age, whatever, you can't doubt him. All right, 32, 33 years old, but he still is leading the team in sacks, 10.5 sacks, an incredible season. Kyle Van Noy is racking up the numbers. All right, I won't say the Ravens pass rush was dominant this game, but they were very, very consistent. All right, only one time could you really say that Russ Wilson got outside the pocket when he was in the Ravens grass, right? That's when Adolfo kind of tripped and fell over. Okay, so Kyle Van Noy, big time game. All right. A guy that, I would love to see the Ravens keep around. All right. Okay. Um, two other guys on defense, then we'll talk about the offense for our stand-up performance. The safety play, Kyle Hamilton or Darius Washington. All right. Our Darius Washington has been a massive addition into the starting lineup. It's no other way around it. All right. He's added stability back there. Kyle Hamilton has also added stability back there. All right. During the game, they said that Roquan Smith, we're talking about some of the struggles the defense had early on. He had to set all three levels of defense: D line, linebackers, safeties, secondary. He had to get them all set, and that was causing the communication gaps. All right. Since Kyle Hamilton has taken over deep, Kyle Hamilton has taken over that role of getting the secondary set, and you can see the difference. They are not allowing big plays. There aren't massive coverage busts. There aren't miscommunications back there. All right. So Kyle Hamilton, I thought this game he was all over the place. Once again, he has the big um, pass breakup on fourth down, right? When they try to throw a deep ball down the field to Calvin Austin, Kyle Hamilton is right there to break it up. All right, Darius Washington, right? And a play where the Steelers are gaining momentum, Steelers can take the lead. Okay, Russell Wilson tries to get greedy. Darius Washington lays the boom on him. All right, form tackle, get the ball out of there. All right, so those two guys have been a massive addition to the Ravens secondary. All right, in terms of getting the whole thing turned around, all right, and stabilized. Okay, now for the offensive side of the ball, two guys that really stood out: Lamar Jackson, Derrick Henry. All right, Derrick Henry, 24 carries, 162 yards on the ground, no touchdowns, but a massive, massive imprint on this game. All right, it can't be understated what Derrick Henry did today. Okay, when you average pretty much 7 yards a carry against this Steelers defense that only gives up 91 yards a game on the ground for this year, you go for 160. That's huge. All right, I don't care who was out there, who was hurt, who was injured, whatever. That's huge. Okay, so for me, Derrick Henry, this is why you got him. December football to pound the other team. Okay, simple as that. All right, and the Ravens did that. All right, Derrick Henry hasn't been great running out of shotgun this year, at least to my eye. I don't know, numbers can say something else, at least to my eye, right? But the under center and pistol, that's where he's kind of excelled. But this game, every run was pretty much working, right? Shotgun, under center, pistol didn't matter. Every run was pretty much working, right? And the Ravens did a great job of sticking with it. All right. I think in the first game he only had 11 carries. This game he gets 24, right? There was a part in the first half of the game where I think the Ravens had 14 runs to only 7 passes. All right. They made sure that the running game was going to be a prominent feature of this game. Right? Beautiful. Okay. And then last but not least, Lamar Jackson. All right. Lamar Jackson, I'm not going to really get into the whole MVP discussion or whatever, but I will say this. If you think the MVP discussion is over with, locked up by Josh Allen, whatever, you're out of your mind. Okay. Lamar Jackson is having one of the best seasons for any quarterback ever. All right. When you combine everything that he does offensively as far as passing the ball and running the ball as well. All right. Lamar Jackson, like I said, 37 touchdown passes this year. career high for him, to only 4 interceptions, right? And the 4 interceptions, you could argue that none of them are his fault. All right, the one he had today with Bateman, that's a miscommunication between him and Bateman. Bateman reads zone, Lamar reads man. Bateman should have kept running. Okay, so I'm not going to get too hard on Bateman about that. It happens, but it was very happening at a very unfortunate time. But it happens. Okay, so Lamar Jackson is firmly in the MVP discussion. 15-23, 207 yards, 3 touchdown passes. Mark Andrews the touchdown. I believe they said this is Mark Andrews' first career touchdown versus Steelers, something like that, which is kind of crazy. I didn't know that, but yeah, that's wild. Isaiah likely gets involved in the offense for a touchdown, and yeah, man. So and also with Rashad Bateman, a beautiful toe drag in the back of the end zone, kind of identical to the one that he scored versus the Giants last week. Okay, so for Lamar Jackson, he's played at a tip-top level. All right. Every time we think Lamar Jackson has reached this level, he keeps going up. Right. Um, I don't think that Lamar Jackson is finished as far as like, oh, this is his peak level play. I don't think so. I think he has even more areas to keep going and going. Right. He's one of the best quarterbacks in NFL history already. He just needs the playoff record to match what he really is. Right. And I believe that that's going to come from Lamar Jackson. I really do. He's too great of a player for it not to, in my opinion. All right. So. Yeah, man. So for the Ravens, those guys really stood out to me today. Those were the stand-up performers for me, right? Now, if I want to give my overall thoughts of the game, then we'll talk about offense defense, okay? Overall thoughts that the Ravens did a very, very important thing. They did not beat themselves, all right? If we talk about what are the biggest things we look for when the Ravens play the Steelers, right? Penalties, mistakes. Okay. All right. Penalties, the Steelers had, I believe, had 5. The Ravens had 2. The Ravens are the most penalized team in the NFL, and this game only had 2 penalties with 10 yards. That's massive. All right. The Ravens don't allow themselves to get drugged into the mud by the Steelers. They are clearly the better team. All right. They've been so the last 5 years, but they allowed mistakes to drag them into the mud when they played the Steelers team. They did not let that to happen today. All right. Second thing, turnovers. All right, Steelers have 2 turnovers: the pick six, the fumble, Russell Wilson. Ravens had the one, unfortunate pick for Lamar Jackson, right, between him and Bateman. Okay, but anyway, you win the battle of the turnovers 2-1. Now the Ravens weren't perfect with the ball. They put the ball on the ground multiple times, right? So we'll talk about that. But they put the ball on the ground multiple times, but they recovered them, whatever. But you won the turnover battle. That's massive. So if you don't allow yourself to get dragged into the mud versus the Steelers, you are the better team. You should have won the game. All right. Now let's talk about the offense. Okay. For the offense's game, I really love the fact that they stuck with the run game. Okay. It wasn't one of those games where they got frustrated. Steelers made a little run, so okay, we got to panic and now we got to start throwing the ball over the field. No, the Ravens. I saw a lot of Isaiah Likely and Mark Andrews on the field together. Now that could have something to do with the Ravens wide receiver situation, with the Ravens wide receiver situation. Excuse me. But at the end of the day, that's the Ravens' path forward to victory, right? Mark Andrews, Isaiah Likely playing a lot. I saw a good portion of Patrick Ricard out there. Okay, um, that's your path to victory. Okay, when you can get into these bigger sets and really be effective, right? I've been saying this. I've been preaching this. Heavy personnel, zone running, play action. A couple plays a game where Lamar Jackson can do Lamar Jackson things to be incredible. The Ravens can win a lot of games. The Ravens can win the Super Bowl with that formula. All right. In this game, I think we really saw that, right? So I had a couple of questions about the Ravens offense, right, coming into this game. Can the O-line block? Can they be physical? Can they block against a physical defensive line? All right. Can the Ravens eliminate mistakes and penalties? And my last question was, can the Ravens stay ahead of the chains? Right. When I did the game preview, right, we want to watch that. Okay. They answered all 3 questions pretty much effectively, right? When you talk about the offense, okay. And then you talk about the O-line. The O-line, I thought, got whipped in the first half. All right. I'm gonna be completely honest with you, right? Ronnie Stanley had one of, I believe, I would say he had one of his worst games of the season in the first half, right? Alex Highsmith got around the corner, strip sack on Lamar Jackson. Ravens still recovered the ball, but that was rough. All right, he couldn't really block Alex Highsmith in the first half, right? But second half, I don't know what happened. I don't know what the difference was, but they settled in, and you really didn't see that kind of Steelers pressure in the second half. You really didn't. All right, so for at least for one half, the Ravens answered that question: can you block this Steelers front? All right, and sometimes that's what it's going to take, right? Can you make adjustments mid game to overcome a difficulty? They did that. All right, all right. We talked about the penalties and the mistakes, right? The most penalized team in the NFL only had 2 penalties today. That's massive, right? The Ravens can go like that. I mean, every game isn't going to be like that. But the Ravens can go like that for the rest of the season, rest of this run. They're not going to lose, all right? The Ravens' biggest enemy in big game is the Ravens, all right? When you talk about penalties, mistakes, turnovers, things that are usually self-inflicted, right? Um, the Ravens usually cause a lot of these things upon themselves, all right? They didn't do that today, and that's massive. That's truly massive. Okay, all right. And then stay ahead of the change, right? I don't think the Ravens got into too many third and longs. They ran the ball effectively. They didn't panic. They didn't get flustered. They did their jobs. Okay. When we talk about it's first down and 10. Ravens throw the ball sometimes. They don't get a completion. Okay. Second down, instead of throwing the ball again and getting in third and 10 and maybe off an incompletion, they run the ball, get to third and 5, third and manageable, and now we can work from there, right? The Ravens had a 96-yard touchdown drive today. All right. Big play. Also want to say, Justice Hill, hope he's okay. Very scary like an injury, right? When he kind of fell on, not kind of, he did fall on his head on the ground, was knocked out immediately, right? They ruled him out the game pretty much immediately after that. So hopefully he's okay. All right. Now, defensively, for the defensive line, I thought that once again, first half, they were okay. All right. Calvin did his thing. Matabiki had some pressures. They did some good signs, some stunts, some loops, stuff like that. That was fine. But second half, they really played well. David Ojabo got after the quarterback. Michael Pierce got after the quarterback in the first half, right? Kyle Van Noy, like I said, second half, career high. Matabike was back there, right? You keep naming guys, waves and waves of pass rushes. That's what it's going to take to win games. That's what it's going to take, okay? Um, Marlon Humphrey. Okay, we got to talk about Marlon Humphrey. Marlon Humphrey made the play of the game. All right, the Ravens throw the ball, get intercepted in the red zone with a chance to put a dagger in the game. Right now, you feel like, oh my goodness, the Ravens have done it again. They shot themselves in the foot. The Steelers are going to, do this and that. They're going to tie the ball game. Here we go. Marlon Humphrey makes the play of the game. Russell Wilson rolls out. Marlon Humphrey catches the pick six, turns it up, goes into the end zone, scores. Okay. All right. And shout out to Mark Humphrey too as well, right? Apparently he just became a father too. So, he just had a baby boy or something like that this week. So shout out to Marlon Humphrey, all right? So good on and off the field. Good for him. All right. Marlon Humphrey is, I've said this many times, he is one of the quintessential Ravens. All right. He could play for any era of the Ravens team. All right. I don't care about his podcast. I don't care about his goofy personality. Marlon Humphrey, when it's time to put on the pads, when he puts on that Ravens helmet, that 44 jersey, he's one of the best players the Ravens have ever had on defense. Okay, I mean that, and I hope he's a Raven for life. All right, I truly hope he's a Raven for life. Okay, um, 6 interceptions this year, by far a career high. Right, the knock on Marlon Humphrey has been he has been able to catch interceptions. Right, but he's proved that wrong this year. Right, he has 6. He probably could have had 7 or 8 already. Honestly, okay, so um, yeah, Marlon Humphrey, big time player, big time game. As far as rest of the defense, we talked about everybody kind of being stabilized. All right, so the Ravens, when you don't beat yourselves, when you don't have these self-inflicted mistakes, this is what this Ravens Steelers games to me should look like. The Ravens have been better than the Steelers since Lamar Jackson has taken over officially in 2019. The last 5 years, to me, no contest. The Ravens have been a better football team. But you're 1-8 in those last 9 games before today, right? So what's the disconnect? Allowing yourself to get dragged into the mud versus the Steelers and play sloppy football. For large parts of the game, the Ravens did not allow that to happen. When the Steelers cannot drag you into the mud, they're not as talented as you, they're not as good as you, they're not on the same level as you. All right, so um, this game was huge, man. The AFC North is wide open, right? The Ravens get the Texans, who just lost Tank Dell to a very very bad knee injury. Hopefully he's okay, but he will be out for the rest of this year, for sure. And then they play the Browns. Okay, the Steelers on the other hand play the Chiefs and the Bengals. So the AFC North is wide open. The Ravens can finish this season 12-5. The Steelers could go, 10-7 to finish this year out. Right, that's a realistic possibility. All right, so this was a huge, huge game for the Ravens, and they stepped up. The Ravens, to me, this was a playoff atmosphere kind of game. All right, and the Ravens did their job. They didn't beat themselves. They let the other team make the mistakes, and they capitalized on those mistakes. Right. The Steelers had 2 turnovers. The Ravens had 14 points off of those 2 Steelers turnovers. All right. That's how you win championships. Okay. So For the Ravens perspective, man, I was very, very happy, right? Only a couple of things I could complain about, all right? I talked about Zay Flowers and the body catching, I believe, in this video. Use your hands, but trust your hands. The soft coverage at the end of the first half, I wasn't a fan of, just because typically in these Ravens Steelers games, they're low scoring, so you want to be able to, not give up these easy free yards, right? The Ravens kind of conceded a field goal to the Steelers, and I didn't like that. All right, especially when George Pickens is out, right? Who are you afraid of? Let's challenge the receivers, okay? Um, and um, Malik Harrison in pass coverage is still very, very bad. But he's a good, solid run defender. Honestly, the Ravens probably should just play Chris Board a little bit more often. Chris Board is more of an all-around linebacker than Malik Harrison is. Even if Malik Harrison is a better run stopper, Chris Board gives you some more all-around game. All right, but very, very few complaints from me, man. Very, very few complaints. All right, so the Ravens win this game, clinch a playoff spot, and keep the AFC North battle alive, right? And that's what the important factor was coming into this game. Can you keep the AFC North battle alive? Because now it's firmly in the Ravens' hands. I believe that it's firmly in the Ravens' hands. All right, so but that's my thoughts on the game, man. Obviously, give me your thoughts of the game, man. Reply to all comments. But it's Gabriel, to the Fan TV. I'm out.